This is not an endorsement. This is not what I want or what Tiki wants. This is a prediction. And so today, Veterans Day 2025, November 11th, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we are all going to make our 2 months out prediction on who the next head coach of the New York Football Giants will be. There have been no leaks, no interviews, no sources. This is just, hey, let's use our noodle. But I want to make it clear, we are not endorsing these people. So if Tiki Barber says a name you don't like, that doesn't mean, Tiki, how could you want this guy? He's not saying he wants this guy. He's predicting. So, as we begin our 2 months out prediction on who the next head coach of the New York Giants will be, I know we're all very sensitive about who gets to go first or not. Does anyone care who goes first? Because I'd love to go first.
Okay. As always.
Well, would you like to go first, Tiki?
No.
Okay. Tommy, would you like to go first?
Have at it, sport.
Thank you. So I did some research, and this was what my research came up with. I wanted to look at who they've interviewed the last 3 cycles. Mm-hmm. And luckily, Dan Duggan did a great job. He put it out there and said, all right, here are the interviews from 22, from 2020, from 2018. Like, all right, let me see who they've talked to before. Doesn't mean I'm going to pick someone from that group, but I'd like to see an idea of the trends over the last few years. Mm-hmm. And I came to a conclusion that the next head coach of the New York Football Giants will be Lou Anarumo, the current defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. He interviewed for the job in 2022, the same interview process that got Brian Daboll his job. Lou is a New Yorker. Lou has Giant ties. Mm-hmm. He's a Staten Island guy. He was the hottest name a few years ago when the Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl. And yes, the Colts are having some success. So my long-term prediction is that the next head coach of the New York Football Giants will be Lou Anarumo. Do you guys like that, by the way, if that happened? Would you be mad or happy?
I like Lou. His son, Louis, is also a scout for the New York Giants.
Oh, that's perfect.
So there's a tie-in.
Damn, I didn't even know that.
He actually has been really good as a coordinator, not ranking-wise, but reputation-wise. And that's in Cincinnati and obviously this year in Indianapolis, even though a lot of that team success is being carried by Jonathan Taylor. Even when they're in boat races, they find ways to run their ball to success. I'm going to say...
I love when you give the deep breath before it. Like, it makes it more dramatic.
Well, I'm actually thinking about this because as much as I would love to go the young whippersnapper who's going to be an offensive genius, I do think that they need someone who's done it before. And the obvious answer is Mike McCarthy. That's who I think it's going to be.
Wow. I didn't see that one coming.
That's not who I'm endorsing.
No. Again, this is not endorsements. This is, we are predicting how this will play out. I didn't see you predicting Mike McCarthy. Mm-hmm. How about that? Now, Tommy Lugauer has already made it clear he wants Mike McCarthy, and I would tend to agree with him that that is a very good choice. But again, this isn't what Lugie wants. This is a prediction, and it's worth 10 points on our prediction scale. So, Tommy, Who is your prediction on the next head coach of the New York Football Giants?
So I am going to predict it is somebody with experience, somebody that has a good to great offensive mind, that has worked with some pretty good or good quarterbacks over the years. The Giants will hire, I'm predicting, Kliff Kingsbury.
Kliff Kingsbury.
It's an interesting one, too.
There you go. And finally, a lot of pressure on Shaun because remember, Tiki, he hosts not one, but 2 very popular Giant podcasts.
And since this is podcast, you could say he has 3 podcasts.
It's a great point.
And I would garner that Shaun will give 3 different predictions on all 3 platforms.
And he has every right to do so. I mean, I've already screwed with you guys by predicting Mike Tomlin back in June.
Right.
So technically, I've got 2 predictions out there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't just go with Tomlin on that one.
He's not available.
I know, but that would be you'd get 30 points for that prediction, not just 10.
I stand by the prediction that I can see it happening. But ultimately, as we sit here today, I need a few things to go my way. Like, I've already gotten the part of Daboll's not the head coach, which I thought was easy. I don't know if my prediction is going to be right about the Steelers failing. And then Tiki brought up a great point yesterday about the fact that Tomlin, even if there's a breakup, could simply say, I need to get away for a year or 2. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sean Payton basically did that.
Yep.
Went to TV. So I'll just leave it out there as a bonus prediction. So I'm officially going Lou Anarumo. Anyhow, Shaun Morash, a lot of pressure. I know you've given this thought all night last night. You did not sleep at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Tiki. I'm not endorsing this person. Clearly, this is just what I think is going to happen. I'm very big on pay attention to what is said early because it usually factors in late. Also, if you follow enough Giants coaching searches, what made Brian Daboll different is that it was somebody that really didn't have some kind of connection or ties, opposed to past coaches and GMs. Last night, Ian Rappaport gave you 3 names that you need to keep an eye on. One of them is Steve Spagnuolo, and I'm eliminating him because I think the Chiefs are going to be in the Super Bowl, and I don't think the Giants are going to wait that long to make a head coach. The other one is Lou Anarumo, and Evan has already said that, and I could totally see it. The other one is who I'm going with, Antonio Pierce.
Wow. Antonio Pierce as the next head coach of the Giants. Would Giant fans want that? Would you want that, Tiki?
I love it. I love AP. So I think it just, to me, it's about staff. That's the one reason I like Mike McCarthy, is because I know he can build a staff. He's done it before. People will want to come work with him because he's not going to be overbearing and I don't know, brutish as a head coach. I worry that Antonio is going to have trouble building a staff.
I have the same worry, but
it would feel like you're copying the Jets, though. Let's get the former player to come in.
Maybe
relive the past glory as head coach.
I also think Antonio Pierce is very powerful with his words, and I think he can win over an interview very well and has head coaching experience now.
Well,
Again, I'm not telling you I won't.
He definitely can win over a locker room.
100%. And I think that's
a huge positive for him.
And that's an attribute here. Like, I was watching, Antonio Pierce does media work now. So he's on CBS Sports Network, I think is where he does it. And I was watching a video of him last night just giving his opinion on the NFL. Yeah. One was about the Dolphins. One was actually about the Giants, like his opinion on the Giant defense. And he is one of those personalities that's very intoxicating. Yeah. Like, he's got energy. Right. He's got fire. Like,
he was fun in production meetings because we did a couple of their games. He was learning on the job.
Right.
It was almost unfair because he took over as the interim, then got the head coaching job, but he never really learned how to be the head coach.
Sure.
He was always learning on the job, and they fired him prematurely, I think. But they got Pete Carroll, and it is what it is. Who knows? I mean, whatever it is, what it is.
But that process that you talk about could be good for the Giants because he's had his on-the-job training.
Yes, it could be.
But I think, like, what he would definitely do well, and this does not mean he would be successful, by the way, I'm just giving you a description, is he'd win that opening press conference. Like, he would come in, like Aaron Glenn, even like Joe Judge, and have a 10 out of 10 opening press conference. And I do think at first the room would believe in him.
Well, of course. He did it in Las Vegas.
The reason
he won the press conference after he took over.
And when they made him interim head coach, the reason that they had to take it off of him and make him the permanent head coach is because he so won the locker room that they would have lost the locker room by getting rid of him.
Yeah.
They almost were forced to keep him.
He had to make some tough decisions, and it was you know what we talked about with Dabes and some of these teams that it's necessary to do, and the Jets did this by moving 2 of their best defensive players. You have to strip down your roster. Antonio Pierce was doing that. And then they fired him.
Which is unfair.
It was completely unfair. They needed to suck that second year. Or his first year as a true head coach. They needed to. And he was doing it. And he was making a point in doing it. Like, you're not doing what I say, see ya, you're out. And it's old school. It establishes a precedent. It makes people say, well, if I want to be here, I better fall in line. And the Raiders got cold feet and quit on it. So, I mean, are they better off with Pete? I don't know.
I mean, it's not like they've been good this year.
It's not like they're good. Exactly.
And the decision to go to Geno Smith hasn't exactly worked.
No, they're 2-7.
Yeah. And Geno Smith's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
100%. Antonio Pierce could have done 2-7.
Yeah, I think so.
So they screwed that up.
Right, so those are your official long-term predictions. I'm going Lou Anarumo. Tiki's going Mike McCarthy. Lugi's going Kliff Kingsbury. And Shaun is going Antonio Pierce.
Can I ask Tiki a quick question about Antonio Pierce? Mm-hmm. Let's say he comes in, he gets interviewed, doesn't get the gig, but McCarthy gets the job. Would Antonio take the DC job?
As a DC?
Yeah,
maybe.
Because like you said, the staffing, and but would you feel like your ego would be bruised? Like, I wanted the head coaching job, and they're giving me a DC job.
I don't think so. I mean, don't forget, like, Antonio Pierce was a defensive assistant in college. Left to come to the league for various reasons. We know them, and was basically just a linebacker coach.
He was not a defensive coordinator in the NFL.
And
in fact, he would be a first-time DC if he took that job.
Right. He jumped
in the NFL.
When they fired, who was the head coach? I'm forgetting who
Wasn't
they
it
fired.
McDaniels?
Yes. They fired Josh McDaniels, and they jumped Patrick Graham. Remember Patrick Graham, our DC?
Who is currently the DC in Vegas. He's
Everybody thought he should have gotten the interim job and then interviewed for the long-term job. AP jumped him, and then AP kept him.
Right.
And so it was like this weird dynamic.
And he's still there under Pete Carroll.
But you know what? It showed that there's no pride in ownership. There's no pride in success. Pat Graham easily could have been like, screw you, AP. I'm out.
Absolutely.
I'm going someplace else. And AP deferred to him.
Yeah.
And that was something. And so I think he has relationships. I just don't know if he has deep enough relationships to pull somebody from somebody else's staff, because he's not anywhere right now.
Right. Yeah, he's working on TV. He's doing media.
He could take Matt Ryan and make him your offensive coordinator, pull him off of CBS, the CBS desk,
I think that's,
and make him your OC. But he hasn't been elevated enough as a coordinator long enough anywhere to have this relationship. Hey, I'm going to be the head coach. Come join me.
Well, I think that's a part of the concern about Antonio Pierce. Right. Like, he was in college at Arizona State. He was the associate head coach. He was the defensive coordinator, did all sorts of stuff there. When he came to the NFL, like you mentioned, he was a linebacking coach before he was very quickly promoted to the interim head coach. And since he was removed as head coach, he didn't go and get a coordinating job anywhere else.
No.
So his experience is still very limited in the NFL.
He was in camp in Kansas City, not doing anything, just kind of as a guest of Steve Spagnuolo, who was obviously his boy, and they did great things together. So I wonder if he's going through the process. Like, let me spend as much time with these guys who I know that are doing well, Spags being one, and pick and learn. Because Spags has been a DC. He's obviously one of the best in the business, but he's also been a head coach, and he had his failures as a head coach. So it's like you learn from other people's failures sometimes, or other people's experiences, I should say. Not to specifically talk about failures, but you learn from other people's experience. And perhaps AP is going through that right now, because I don't think his coaching career is dead. He's only 50, 49 years old, whatever he is.
It's up to him. I'm sure he can get back into coaching when he wants.
Back into it, he can. It's just a matter of what level and where.
My guess is he's going to have to be a coordinator. I don't know if he's going to get
47 he is. So he's young.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be a head coach immediately. I think he's going to eventually have to be a defensive coordinator. And maybe he would be with the Giants next year with an experienced staff. Let's get back to your calls. We'll save those predictions and find out how right we are in about 2.5 months. Because keep this in mind. It's November 11th. The Giants are not hiring a head coach until mid to late January. So it's one of those discussions here on the radio station and on social media that's going to be going on for 2.5 months. We're not getting an answer anytime soon.
Right.
So buckle up. Let's go to Chris in Hohokus. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully Tommy doesn't have to dump me on anything, because I'm so PO'd about half this stuff. But I wanted to start out and say, Tiki, they brought up a graphic this weekend on yards from scrimmage, and every other player they showed was a hands down Hall of Famer. And I hope you were on the screen as one of those, and I hope you find yourself there someday soon.
Thank you, Chris.
I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I'm a little tepid on Shane being fired only because of starting over from zero again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wiping everything clean and starting over from zero again. Another comment I had on Shane, and this goes back to the Hard Knocks and kind of the culture of how they were running things. And I don't know if you guys remember the jokes about who could run the 40-yard dash and what Dable's time would be and this and that. And it just, to me, seemed the type of franchise you're taking over in the space that it's in. I wish they were a little more serious about everything that they were doing. And that leads me kind of to my next point. And it goes to, Tiki, you've mentioned this before. Where are the dogs? And I'm going to borrow this from Tommy with the Knicks. Where are the dogs in this franchise? I heard a soundbite from Thibodeau after, I don't think it was this loss, I think it was last week's, where he talked about, I have to look at the tape.
Yeah.
I got to see what's on tape.
Right.
And that's Daboll's mindset.
Yeah.
And Tiki, I'd ask you this because you've talked about this before.
Right.
Hamilton, Pierce, Strahan, Osi, going back to Leonard Marshall, LT. How many of those guys would you ever say, I got to go look at the tape? They would say, I know what I need to do better.
Right.
I know what this defense needs to do. I know the havoc we have to wreak. Not I need to go look at the tape.
Right.
And I think what's missing in what Shane is building or in the culture of this team is
guys.
There are no hardcore leaders.
Right.
Of dogs on this team that say,
right.
hey,
you're not right.
We're not going to accept this.
Right. You know Chris, who I think may be that way is Brian Burns on the defensive side specifically. I think Cam Scatterbo is that way offensively, Jackson Dart to an extent. But he was alluding to something that is, it particularly happens in football locker rooms. You end up taking on the personality of your head coach. And it just because you hear him every day. He talks to you every day. It's his job to drive home a message that is generated from his personality every day. And I remember this just as an example. Go back to 2002 when the Buccaneers were coached by John Gruden. And I'm not bringing up John Gruden because everybody wants John Gruden. I'm bringing it up because this is a perfect example. John Gruden used to have the greatest motivational sayings ever. It was all day, every day. And the one that always stuck with me was when it was like a hard practice and then it's hot as hell down in Tampa. And John Gruden would start his meetings by saying, gentlemen, today I need genuine enthusiasm. And if you ain't got it, effing fake it. Right? And so, he's joking, but he's not.
Right.
And so Rondé started spewing me all this nonsense because I'm still playing. So he starts spewing me all. I'm like, dude, who the hell are you? And he's like, yeah, just Gruden's in our head. And that's the reason they won because he had this crazy all out effort all the time mentality. We saw it on television. We saw it in his interviews. It's how he coached his team. It permeated throughout the team. Now, over time, it wore out its welcome.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it was awesome. So if you have a passive, we'll figure this thing out. We'll go look at the tape mindset. Your players are going to have that mindset. They're going to react the same way. And on game day, if you're not composed or overly emotional, your players are going to be not composed and over emotional. So picking a head coach is so hard because you got to have a guy that's going to motivate the hell out of these guys, but you also have to have someone who has no pride and ownership and will delegate powers and empower other people to be great at what they do, and then you have shared success. Finding that person is hard to do because once you get in that job, sometimes your ego gets the best of you, and we've seen this too many times with the New York Giants. Too many. Joe Judge was certainly this way. Maybe Ben McAdoo was this way, even though he didn't deserve to be with his how he handled the whole Eli Manning ending of his career. So, I don't envy the person trying to do this job of hiring the next Giant head coach, but there are some specific things that you have to avoid, some specific things that you have to have as a head coach to be, especially in New York.
Miles in Hamilton, New Jersey. What's up, Miles?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, man? What's up?
So I'm surprised I haven't heard anybody bring this up on the station all day until Perloff's last update. Kind of stole my thunder here. I was on X earlier, and I saw a tweet from a Packers beat reporter, Matt Schneiderman. He had said that he thinks that Matt LaFleur may be coaching for his job this season, and if Matt LaFleur loses that job in Green Bay, which I don't think would be the best move for them, I think he should definitely be the Giants' number one option.
I think the reason no one's brought it up yet is because
it sounds absurd.
It still sounds absurd despite what happened last night.
Right.
Matt LaFleur in Green Bay has done pretty much an awesome job.
Oh, he's been
despite
amazing.
some of the decision-making early on with Aaron Rodgers that it may not have liked. So, yes, they lost last night, and yes, it was ugly, and yes, the Packers have had a few losses that are very tough to explain. It doesn't feel realistic yet. Like, Mike Tomlin feels more realistic because he's been there for so long, and you could see the underachieving happen. I still think the Packers are going to win and make the postseason. Now, where they go from there, who knows?
He's had one sub-500 season.
That's correct. And he's had 4 double-digit win seasons. He is 72-36 in his NFL career.
Yeah, so they're
despite,
underperforming right now.
No doubt. And last night was a bad loss. But I don't know if anyone really thinks the Packers are going to fire him.
I love him, though.
Well, if he gets fired, hire him.
He's awesome.
Yes.
He's a Rondé guy. Sports Talk on WFAN is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. When I say Rondé guy, the Rondé guy is someone who I know because of Rondé. Rondé knows him well,
right.
And so when I went and did a Green Bay game a couple years ago, me and Matt Ryan were on the field. I could have talked to him for the entirety of the game. I almost forgot. I actually missed. We had a hit we had to do, and I missed it because I was down on the field.
I'm going to ask you a tough question now.
What's that?
Tricky one. Both Mike Tomlin and LaFleur become available.
LaFleur.
Wow, that quickly.
Yeah, I love Mike
easily.
Tomlin, but I know Mike Tomlin is not leaving Pittsburgh, and if he does leave Pittsburgh, he's chilling.
Yeah, but that's a cheap way to answer the question.
I'm being real.
I know.
You want me to give you BS? You want me to give you real?
If both wanted to come here, I'm going to phrase it that way. So it's not BS. It's just answering Evan's dumb question. If both guys
Mike
wanted,
Tomlin.
Okay, there you go. See, I got him to answer it. I just had to manipulate that.
I have a follow-up question because it's something I can't shake from my brain that I feel like one of you two, and I'm forgetting which one, is ingrained in me. The idea of coaches that lose their job, you would prefer them sit out a year.
This is different.
LaFleur's different than that?
Because he's not unsuccessful.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
been to the playoffs a million times. He has a winning percentage that's almost 70%. Like, I said that about Adam Gase.
Right.
Okay.
Adam Gase is
You
not-
say it about Rex Ryan when
Right.
he has a bad 2 seasons.
Rex
It's like,
Ryan.
I'm going to go fix it someplace else. No, you're not, dude. Right? So there's a reason that you got fired. If LaFleur gets fired, it's kind of. It would be shocking.
It would be. That's why,
Shocking.
I appreciate the call, and I understand where that thought would come from off of last night, and apparently one of the sports minutes we played that I did not pay attention to. But I don't think it's realistic. I think Mike Tomlin's more realistic.
It was a conversation in Green Bay in August after the Parsons trade, though.
About firing him?
That this was the finishing piece for Green Bay, and they were getting a little tired of him. That's why I don't think it came out of nowhere when a Packer reporter said it last night.
Tired of them because they haven't won a championship.
Exactly. Well, again, these are first world problems that we can't understand here in New York that are so absurd. But yes, to answer that question, yes.
Okay, great. Go 15 years without winning a playoff game like Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
It hasn't been that long, but you know what I mean.
I get you.
But I'm with you. I can't stand these disgraceful organizations that don't get what it's like.
I mean, listen, I'm the fan of a team that hasn't seen the playoffs since Obama's first term. I mean, my God. At least you guys experienced it a couple of years ago.
No.
We'll get back to your calls coming up, plus a brand new edition of Posted and Toasted, all live from the Town Fair Tire Studios. Powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.